Rumbo Minero, Mining News. Hi Cesar, how's it going?
What a pleasure, Jorge.
My name is Jorge Leon Benavides, and together with Cesar Campos, we are introducing a unique program to the public. We are at the Ministry of Energy and Mines. An interview is scheduled with Minister Jorge Montero to delve into several topics, such as Reinfo and Patas. Stay tuned for insights from the conversation. Additionally, there are numerous new topics that the Minister will be sharing with us. And we believe this is an interview in an important moment, Cesar.
Indeed, isn't it so? The slaughter of these 13 security personnel who were serving in close proximity to the major mining enterprise in the area of Patas. Region of freedom, it has moved us all, but we must continue thinking about the future and how we are going to do it, the solution, and how we will pacify the area.
Before the Minister's interview, let's consider our next steps and plan our course of action carefully. Well, I would like to present to you this unique and special report, and then we will proceed with the interview afterwards.
The killing of miners in Patas brutally highlighted the alarming growth of illegal mining activities in the area. In response, the government set aside 52 million sols to stop illegal activities, sending out over 1,000 agents, reinforced territorial control, and implemented a pilot gold traceability system. But the measure also has a high cost, as all mining activity has been paralyzed, mainly affecting formal mining. This could result in losses reaching as high as $200 million in gold production. Added to this is the uncertainty over the continuity of Reinfo, which has been criticized for facilitating the cover-up of illegal mining. Meanwhile, Congress has yet to move forward with the ASM law. From its shore, the Minem announced the entry into force of the regulation that creates a new interoperable system, which will replace Reinfo in its effects. In this context, 1,425 registrations to Reinfo have already been automatically revoked. There is an opportunity to transform mining in Patagonia with a joint commitment between the state, the private sector, and the communities.
We are currently meeting with Minister Jorge Montero at the Ministry of Energy and Mines. Thank you very much, Minister, for hosting Rumbo Minero in your offices today.
Jorge Cesar, welcome to the Ministry of Energy and Mines with pleasure.
All right, Minister. Exists. The essential thing about this interview is to clarify some matters.
Okay, sure.
There are sounds with a name powerful, the president of the National Society of Mining and Petroleum, Julia Torreblanca, about cancel the Reinfo. No, they made a Reinfo expansion, haven't we? So we have been able to appreciate, we have coincided at the PDAC in Canada.
Indeed.
We have been able to see the efforts you are making to be able to bring the investment, all the work that is being done. However, this issue has turned into a significant headache for everyone in the industry, and naturally the situation with Patas has ultimately added yet another complication to the mix. What is the plan for the Reinfo? There's an extension happening. What comes after this?
Let's see. Within the framework of the emergency decree and above all of the Supreme Decree that was released just 2 days ago, supported by this Supreme Decree, the 060 and the Urgent Decree 006. Today we have initiated the process of exclusion of 1,425 suspended Reinfos in the district of Patas. In Patas, Parcoy, and Tayabamba within the region.
What does this exclusion mean?
That which exits the registry, it exits the registry. Now for this process to be approved, a legal term of 15 working days has to pass.
Already.
During the period of 15 business days, the holders of these reinforcements are entitled to, should they choose to, exercise their rights, to present a resource through which they express, hey, I am here. In the process of updating my current reinforcements, etc., is appreciated. It is consented to as of the 16th day. The process of exclusion that was initiated today has begun.
Okay.
This is significant news, not just a small update or a minor piece of information. We are initiating the process of exclusion of suspended Reinfos because they did not comply with the conditions to be in force. Those suspended reinforcements, we understand that they shouldn't be mining activity, but that is not clear. It is not certain. We do not know if they really have not been mining. Therefore, within the framework of the law, the healthiest thing to do is to initiate an exclusion process. Except for those who say and demonstrate that they are enabling themselves to return to a current status.
What will Reinfos' life be? Maybe comes from another side. Share a bit with us.
Yes, let's see. One thing is the formalization, and another thing is the law of small-scale mining and artisanal mining. They are two processes that advance in parallel lines and have two different responsible parties. The new law that will govern, that will legislate the activity of small-scale and artisanal mining, which replaces that of the year 2002, totally surpassed by the facts. It's a task of the Energy and Mines Commission of the Congress of the Republic. In November of last year, our ministry submitted our bill to the Energy and Mines Commission by placing it in the designated folder in their inbox. Our bill. In other words, the ministry's voice is already in that bill, which has been in the hands of the Energy and Mines Commission since November last year. Our word and proposal have been promised and offered by us previously. The Commission has the bill, illustrating a focused authority, has 4 or 5 additional and different bills that come from different congressmen, from different benches, with different interests. Therefore, the duties of the Energy and Mines Commission consist of, as I gather, the efforts they are engaged in, which is to review and accumulate these different bills, among others, ours. To be able to issue a report in committee and submit it to the board of spokespersons, to the plenary, etc., etc. So this is a string. And that is fundamental because this law will regulate how it runs. The operation of small-scale mining and artisanal mining from the moment it came into effect is essential. Clearly, the parallel and the one in charge, as the one accountable for all these kinds of matters, is evident. Regarding jobs and actions, it is of course the Congress of the Republic acting through its Energy and Mines Commission. In parallel is the formalization, the task of formalizing. Because in the real and concrete facts in this country, small-scale and artisanal miners often operate without asking for permits. So they are already operating in reality. What we have to do is to formalize those who meet the minimum conditions for formalization.
It is essential that we return to the topic of the map, Mr. Minister, in light of the dramatic announcement issued by El Comercio newspaper. The constant visits of representatives of informal mining organized, by the way, to the respective commission. But I wanted to first to address the issue of the Reinfos. In a recent interview on our Rumbo Minero program, Máximo Gallo, the General Director of Mining Formalization, shared their target to formalize a minimum of 5,000 individuals from the Reinfos registry by early 2025. However, concerns arise following a recent massacre in Patas. There is uncertainty around what may have led to this tragic event and how it could potentially impact the formalization process. Despite this, the question remains: are they still actively striving to recognize and formalize the 5,000 individuals from the Reinfos database?
Let's see. Provide Cesar with a different response option to your inquiry. The formalization process is a task that falls to this ministry, specifically to the General Directorate of Mining Formalization. And we have been making the efforts that we have been able to trigger with the regional directorates of energy and mines, which were responsible for the decentralization law, those responsible for the formalization of small-scale and artisanal mining from day zero have been the regional directorates of energy and mines, and they have done what they could. We have around 20 individuals, and each of them has done what they could, but honestly, they haven't achieved much at all.
I apologize for the interruption. Your kindness in saying that they couldn't help is truly appreciated. There are 5 regions that have not submitted the files to the respective authority. They have been held up, and this has also been public since October. That's right.
That's right. Therefore, today, a supreme decree is coming out today, where for the first time in the history of the Peruvian formalization, this ministry acquires the competence. Today, I do not know if it has already been or is coming out in the next few hours, a supreme decree signed by the President of the Republic and countersigned by this minister. For the first time in mining history, we are facing a competition that has never been experienced before. The ministry is the one that assumes it. Today,
Congratulations.
it will happen soon, in the next hours, and this evening we have already started. We have already started with the exclusions that we have already advanced to the media on the illegal suspended reinforcements.
That is clear. Yet, we need to discuss, for example, the formalization of mining. Or artisanal and small-scale mining has, for example, 17 million souls and has been executed up to 14% so far. The way
That will change. Just like the previous occasion, certainly during my leadership, this department had to address various challenges coming from the regional offices, of formalities, of regional directions of energy and mines. There were budgets that were managed there. And there they were fairly proportional to the dynamics of each of these directions. They didn't provide much since there weren't many resources available. But now that we are taking on the responsibility, starting tomorrow, for the formalization of mining, I assure you that the formalization of mining is going to change.
more budget.
Not only more budgets, but more
execution.
resources, more execution, more dynamics, more technology, more personnel. Surely we do not omit this, and I mentioned it to the regional directors of energy and mines in a meeting held 10 days ago where everyone was present. I have told you we cannot do without the work of coordinating with you. You remain as regional offices of energy and mines, and you are still, well, to put it simply, they are thematically linked to this topic. However, now the ministry is responsible for overseeing competencies, and they are relying on you to carry out field visits, conduct identifications, and complete specific procedures, certain things. However, it is now up to us to take responsibility. We are in charge of overseeing the budgets and determining the direction. We are the ones who set it up. This is something we were not able to accomplish before.
Let's take a short break and we'll return with Cesar's question. We'll go to a break and come back.
Tasty.
We continue with this exclusive interview for Rumbo Minero presented by the Minister of Energy and Mines, Dr. Jorge Montero. There is something very interesting that you have said about the new command that has formed in Pataz, but people are complaining. Public opinion feels a sense of dissatisfaction, Minister, due to the fact that there have been 16 months of a state of emergency already in Pataz. And the fact that Prime Minister Gustavo Adrianzen has downplayed at some point that the kidnapping of the 13 who ultimately happened did not occur. They found dead bodies in this nearby sinkhole at the powerful mining site has caught attention because beyond whether it was a lightness or not from the Premier, I don't want to put it into discussion. It is the fact that he has received information supposedly from intelligence that tells him this is not happening. There has been no such kidnapping.
What kind of security is provided by both the Minister of Defense and the Minister of the Interior during cabinet discussions about this new operation? What about this new scenario in Pataz?
Look, Cesar, Jorge, what I see is an absolute commitment of the state, of the government, of the executive in front of this new scenario of the 13 victims. This new scenario of the 13 victims, I say new, because in some way it has made it evident that the territory, it was nearly at that stage, to a large extent, under the control of mafias and criminal organizations. At the moment that this becomes evident, because it is no longer a conflict, you see, it is not a conflict with the state, it is already a conflict between them, because it seems that there has been a problem between gangs, between interest groups, all of them illegal and criminals as a result of their actions. At that moment, it is evident that they are already doing They are doing their business and their things in their own way. And the state no longer had, so to speak, no other option but to intervene with unusual force to recover the territory. That is to say, the unacceptable and terrible. Oh, it is utterly unacceptable and quite terrible that these 13 youths were employed in a mining operation. Let's say it highlighted the need to put a stop and to take action, to activate concrete actions with an unusual strength to regain control of the territory and restore security to the people of Patas. Tranquility, peace, and the rule of law for companies to be able to operate and carry out their mining activities, which are welcome in this country because they generate employment, development, activate resources, provide royalties, and pay taxes. And they make sure to pay their taxes.
Okay.
And that is what we have done.
Minister, what else is on the agenda from the ministry? Let's see.
Inform citizens, not journalists like me, if my statements are accurate. Let's have a conversation among peers to confirm the validity of my thoughts. This situation of recovering the territory, putting order, bringing peace, the rule of law must be restored, and these criminals must be caught and justly punished. Well, it cannot be extended indefinitely for an extended period. It is evident that this is not the intended idea. We cannot exist in a state of constant anxiety and perpetual prohibition. That has to end at some point. I do not know if it will be 2 months, 4 months, 6 months. That will be decided by the Unified Command. They are the ones who have to carry out the operations and operations. But what is left after that? In order to guarantee that at the moment when the law enforcement forces are being retracted, we must ensure that these gentlemen do not return. These people who come out from under stones and trees and reoccupy the territory once more. What has to remain is an organized population. Without a unified population striving towards shared goals and purposes, disorganization will prevail. Convergent, then we are going to have the same problem in a short time. Therefore, the ministry, the executive, understanding the situation well, this week, I don't know if it will be tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, through the presidency of the Council of Ministers, this will lead to the issuance of a ministerial resolution that creates the multi-sectoral working group for the sustainable development of the province of Patas. Let's open what Patas has never had, a development table with all the actors present in the territory, mayors, population, patrols, civil society organizations, mining companies, the state, working together across multiple sectors to organize ourselves and to begin to bring public resources to close the gaps and the sustainable development of this territory. That multi-sectoral working group is getting started this week. The President, we think, understands that it is a multi-sectoral working group. It will be chaired by the Presidency of the Council of Ministers, and the Technical Secretariat will be in this ministry. Immediately after this occurs, we will, of course, coordinate with the provincial mayor and the district mayor, the leadership of the peasant patrols, in collaboration with the civil society of Patas, to organize an initial meeting, a first working session at that location. We started this work. And not only that, and to finish, Cesar, forgive me, currently, we are working on setting up a permanent office for the Ministry of Energy and Mines in the region of Patas, with very diverse and powerful technological resources to attend to the formalization process, oversight to ensure adherence to fulfill the obligations set by that committee for the instant production of geographic-based data on active Reinfos and inactive Reinfos in real time, ensuring accuracy and efficiency.
of the Reinfos that move here and there, etc., etc., etc.
Minister, well, one of the major challenges posed by illegal mining is that we are talking about gold. We are not talking about drug trafficking or cocaine in this context.
It's a fluid.
What it means is that the government can indeed take some action with that gold, because of course you can't do anything with drug trafficking.
Definitely,
Yes.
there is no way at all.
One of the big problems for Reinfo is that they are asked for the land contract.
Ujum.
The government has many local weirdos, right? Different zones.
Areas of non-admission.
Where they know there are more or less minerals.
Yes,
the government
yes,
could grant these titles.
He'll do it.
Nope, parceling, I don't know. Suddenly, and once that's given, traceability, right? From where are you making your purchases? Lately, in some towns mentioned in the reports, it's been revealed that bags are left open in the stores, isn't it? Essentially, there seems to be a lack of supervision outdoors with no supervision by miners at all. Thus, this could be something that really accommodates the miners. Legal, artisanal, and also a large part of the illegal ones who truthfully need to be convinced to leave illegality. There will be others who are very tough and do not want to, right? But I believe that there is a great number that will be able to work as long as the government has a seductive offer.
Yes. Let's chat about it for a moment. At this time, I want to make sure I respond to a question that I know is important to you, something you've been curious about, and I worry that I haven't explained it clearly enough before. The law 32213, which we are regulating today, clearly states three things. One cause for the quick passage of these months is our newly acquired capability to put things into a formal structure. Why did time elude us so swiftly? Today we completed drafting the regulations, submitting them to CCB, pre-publishing them, and handling various tasks required. Everything was successfully concluded. All tasks are now completed. Two, it is necessary to establish an interoperable system that, in practical terms, this interoperable system will ultimately replace the Reinfo. Or in practice, essentially, the focus shifts to disregarding outdated paperwork in favor of a cohesive new system that prioritizes simplifying necessary documents and promotes collaboration.
Technical assistance, financing,
financial and commercial help. In order for the formalization to truly hold meaning for someone, it currently lacks significance for anyone. In fact, this is the reality. It is not appealing whatsoever. Finished. The third indication is that the Reinfo, will last until June 31st of this year, except if this ministry, during the process of enabling an interoperable system to turn on what must be turned on, this asks an extension for a maximum period of time of 6 more months. Then, for all intents and purposes, the reinforcements ought to have been adequately replaced and improved upon by a system of formalization that is clearly superior and advantageous by the end of December this year. For all practical purposes, this cannot extend beyond that date. However, I am not discussing about giving up a Reinfo in exchange for nothing. We are discussing, and I want to be very clear about this, that the Reinfo would leave, so to speak, stop being a current record to make way, to give way to something superior, to something that considers incentives, that considers benefits for people who decide to leave this situation of informality and take the step towards formality. And take the step towards formality, which is what we want and desire, because this is a country where there is a law for all Peruvians and where there is a rule of law.
It will be beneficial for Pataa's situation to turn out well, to be able to replicate it.
Indeed.
No?
Right. I have something to tell you. Our initial idea was to launch all our initiatives in Patás at different locations until the Patás crisis changed our plans and we were forced to reconsider the situation. The ARA, due to force majeure, everything begins in Patás. And what we achieve there, the best lessons learned and all the technological advances that I have pointed out, that I have already pointed out minutes before, can be replicated. They can be replicated. They should be replicable to other mining sectors of small mining and artisanal mining in the country.
Minister, time is running out, but I would appreciate a final opportunity for a few words if possible. This is not aimed at the sector, but at the common people who are anxious about the violence and the ongoing problems in mining.
Look, the state, the government on behalf of all Peruvians has mobilized with its army to an area that is highly vulnerable to criminality. We are going to put order. There is no plan B. When these things happen, order shall be established once again. I kindly request the citizens and individuals concerned about these issues who feel affected by this situation to listen, to have confidence in their government. We are taking the necessary and concrete steps, and specifically to not only re-establish order, but also to encourage a new formalization initiative. Please trust me and a good spirit. We are hopeful for our small-scale miners and artisanal miners whom we hold in high regard for their hard work and dedication. We are working for you, thinking of you, and we are going to activate a formalization process that is really based on incentives and not on paper. Real, and that works. Thanks.
Thank you, Minister, for inviting us back. We appreciate it greatly. We sincerely hope that all the topics you have brought up will progress positively for the benefit of every single Peruvian citizen. And we are anticipating a new interview to monitor the progress of everything that's happening.
Delighted at your service. Let's obtain it. Let's do it if they help us by following up on this.
Great.
Thank you very much, Jorge Cesar.
Thanks, Minister. Okay, we are going to move on now to Miguel Zavala's studies. Go ahead.
I would like to extend a warm welcome to José Gonzáles, our newest member of the America mining team at Rumbo Minero. International editor of Rumbo Minero magazine, who is connected from Wall Street, New York. José, welcome to Rumbo Minero.
I'm really pleased I managed to come, Miguel. It's great to be here.
José, these comings and goings of this trade war between China and the United States, because with which they are attacking each other with these tariffs, in which one imposes 125%, the other raises it to 145%. Well, now there seems to be an agreement in which they are again at 10% in mutual tariffs. Mutual. Let us know how this influences mining and its future.
Surprisingly, Miguel, after the outlines for a trade agreement between Great Britain and the United States were announced, and that the Secretary, the Treasurer of the United States went on a trip for the weekend that just passed to Switzerland. Yes, both countries have agreed on a principal agreement, just like you said. Establishing flat reciprocal tariffs of 10% is based on the global principles outlined by the Trump administration starting on April 2nd following universal guidelines, with a 20% difference for China based on the tariffs that were set before fentanyl. In other words, that 145 and 125 is now 30 and 10. It should be emphasized that the previous tariffs from the first Trump administration and the Biden administration were at 20%. In China, they remain high. However, the tension has eased. In contrast, both countries have published a joint announcement, an event that has not taken place since their union, since the APEC conference held in San Francisco a few years prior. When Biden met with Xi, they discussed various issues, and the market would have been reassured. However, this is a 90-day truce, like what has been established with London and the rest of the countries. The uncertainty is set to persist in the near future. Nonetheless, given that tensions have been alleviated, the effect on metals and minerals has been the opposite of what it was in those months of uncertainty and dislocation. Gold has corrected 8.8% from its high of 3,501, currently at 3,192. Copper, which had fallen 22% from its high when copper tariffs were expected and inventories began to build in the US, has recovered 14%. It has gone up by 14%. Oil, which had fallen 29%, has recovered 11%. The stock markets have recovered to levels prior to the announcement of the war. Concerning the rates, nonetheless, the interest rates for that year's Treasury bond are still set at 4.5%. Underscoring the fact that volatility and uncertainty, the trend is expected to persist. Copper is forecasted to keep rallying, while gold is projected to maintain its aspirations towards higher levels without significant increases.
Correct. Well, we know about your relationship with the ecclesiastical authorities of the Vatican, as well as the Episcopal conferences of both America and the United States. So, With the election of Cardinal Robert Prevost to the papacy, we now have Pope Leo XIII. What are your thoughts on the Pope's stance regarding mining activities?
It's quite fascinating that Pope Robert Prevost, who was previously known as Pope Leo XV, also served as the Bishop of Chiclayo. His route to the cardinalate, he was on his way to the cardinalate and the papacy, and it was determined through Peru. He was a cardinal with a relatively low profile, but he was the second vice secretary for the Peruvian Episcopal Conference. So when he picks his name like Leo XIV in heritage from Leo XIII, the Pope who released Rerum Novarum, the encyclical, well, that defines what is known as Catholic laborism and outlines the social doctrine of the Catholic Church, signifies that this person holds the title of Pope, who will prioritize the rights of workers in the upcoming agenda. In 2019, he took part as the Bishop of Chiclayo in discussions regarding the social conflicts occurring in Las Bambas, which were taken to the Episcopal Conference of Peru, where the Chiclayo Bishop Robert Prevost was involved in activities at that time. He pointed out that he had a balanced position in favor of dialogue, the cessation of violence, and the fulfillment of the agreed commitments. They claim Prevost is neither anti-mining nor a strict environmentalist. He believes in investment in extractive industries, but also in sustainable development and preservation.
Thank you very much, Jose. Okay, we have some fascinating information, and we hope to see you next week to discuss these matters in more detail.
Will do, always happy to.
All right, now I want to introduce you to the magazine Rumbo Minero. In this section, you can explore and read these themes along with other themes associated with the mining, energy, and hydrocarbon sectors. You have the option to get the digital magazine for free on www.rumbominero.com. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Okay, now let's take a commercial break and come back.
In an industrialized world, safety is the most important thing. At Industrias Manrique, a Peruvian national company, we know that safety starts from the feet. Every step you take in an industrial environment can be dangerous. This is why at Industrias Manrique, we ensure our safety shoes adhere to international safety standards by using top quality materials and cutting-edge technology, ensuring durability and reliability for our customers. Each pair is designed to withstand the rigors of the industrial environment.
As we come to the end of the program, Cesar, this interview conducted here at the Ministry of Energy and Mines with Minister Jorge Montero indeed offers a significant amount of information, a lot of willingness to work. I think, and this is just my opinion, that it takes a lot of enthusiasm to work. We need new ideas. We can't keep discussing the same thing. We have to have new ideas, and definitely what is going to be done in Patas is extremely important because it depends on the success of this plan in Patas. Similar to a kind of Marshall Plan, isn't it? Achieving success in other areas of the country so that finally the undocumented can regularize their status. And what really? We can all come to an agreement in Peru and not end up in this violence, right?
This is an interesting social method because work tables will be set up. They will be altered, swapped, or more accurately, a few thoughts regarding ways to encourage the growth of the region, taking into account the presence of both artisanal mining and small-scale mining operations. Without a doubt, this will generate controversy, Jorge, as the minister has yet to determine the duration of this situation. This situation of emergency in the area that also paralyzes formal activity. Still, he mentions that there is a superior principle, which is to secure peace in the region, and only then can we act truthfully and, most importantly, directly with each individual actors in the mining sector. I was quite intrigued by what you said about Reinfos, Jorge, because he had foreseen the need to implement this as an operational scheme, not just a registry, but to support the mining sector as well. Not only to review the record, but also to obtain technical support, financing, and everything needed in the industry.
What it was meant
from the
to
very
be from
beginning,
the start,
precisely,
was, right? We need to be honest, don't we? We can't just give a note that says Reinfos and not check on anything.
Exactly.
Right? The traceability and everything related to it. So we really need to work on it and do it thoroughly, right? And crucially, the minister's words to us post the interview will be of great importance. He's traveling to Patas to give a statement and to have these technical meetings that are extremely important. That is why it is said that at this moment. So, what occurred in Patas related to the ministers and government's meetings in Patas will represent a pivotal moment, a clear before and after.
Isn't it similar to putting together a pilot plan? With the Patas situation resolved and the peace topic settled, we might also be able to discuss the conditions in other mining zones across Peru.
Yes, I appreciate your consistent presence on Rumbo Minero. Thank you, Cesar, for always being with us and supporting us. And don't forget, we are waiting for you on this same signal every weekend.